Genuine question. Is Horse Sense the weirdest title in a DCOM?
It can't be.
I'm not saying like it sounds weird or anything, but it has no real relation to the movie.
That's true.
Like, there's the sense that horses give you good luck, wild horses. Is that what they're going for?
They can sense the goodness in the horse.
The vast majority of this movie is barely horse related, if we're being honest. Like, there's horses as a part of it, but the horses are very much a C plot at best.
That's true. I don't know. It might be the one where it's like, why is the movie called that? I don't know if any other movie DCOM really has that issue.
It really just adds to the poster. It makes it all mysterious. You don't think this is the movie you're going into. No,
honestly, if you just look at it face value, you're probably disappointed when you watch.
Yeah, that's Horse Sense for you. But it has heart.
But it has heart.
It has horse.
Welcome, everybody, to the DCOM Duo podcast.
I'm Benji.
I'm Kelsey.
We're the DCOM Duo
podcast.
All right, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you coming to listen to us. Today we're talking about Horse Sense, the beloved DCOM.
Everybody knows this one.
I mean, we'll talk about it. This is more remembered than you're giving it credit for.
I'd never heard of this.
Yeah, it sounds like you're not cultured.
I guess I'm not. I never heard of Horse Sense before deciding to watch every single Disney Channel original movie.
Yeah. But Horse Sense overall, Kelsey and I both went in thinking, well, from what we remember, it was okay, but maybe a little stale. And that feels probably pretty accurate. It has a good heart to it.
Yeah.
It is very much like sappy, made-for-TV movie.
Yeah, but I don't hate it.
No.
Like, it has a lot of heart. I wouldn't say it's
well
not well
written,
made. Yeah, it's well written. I would say it's pretty well made.
The acting's fine. It's just, are we going to go deep to bat for this movie?
No. Like, it's not anything spectacular. It's just a very standard, like, kind of feel-good kids movie about a guy learning not to be a douchebag anymore by working on a ranch. Like, it's exactly what you'd expect.
I think I'm going to take this as a transitionary point. Last week, or last episode, we talked about Up, and Away.
Yeah.
And what we continuously said in there is the only thing that really made that movie not stand out is it didn't have that sauce. It didn't have that extra kick. That like something that made it all tie together, make it feel like it had a purpose for existing. This one does. And
it has a little something. And is it like a huge, strong tasting sauce? No. But you got a little like honey mustard in there, you know? So actually, take that back. Ranch.
Yes, this is clearly the ranch of all movies.
You got some Hidden Valley in there, you know, where you can dip it in or put it on many things and it'll be all right. But is it like blowing your mind sauce? No.
Yeah. Speaking of Up, and Away, as we mentioned, that's what we did last episode. This is the time of the show where we would read off some fan mail, but we do not have any fan mail this week. If you'd like to send us fan mail in the future about Horse Sense, about any other DCOM that we've either listened, watched to, or have not, or about anything else, anything that sparks your interest, you can email us at thedcomduo@gmail.com. Cool. All right.
Horse Sense.
Horse Sense released November 20th.
Whoa. You didn't say it's time for the factos.
Yeah, I just thought it was assumed.
No, now the audience is confused. They don't know what part of the show we're doing.
I guess. Hey, if you don't know how we do the show here, we start with a little cold open. Then Kelsey whips out her kazoo and plays us an intro. It's live recorded every time.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Then we give like a little 2-minute like, hey, what were your thoughts on the movie? And then
we don't do fan mail.
Then we do fan mail if we have fan mail. We have not had fan mail in a bit. Then we go to the factos.
The DCOM duo factos.
Where we talk about the director and the cast of the movie. By the way, if you ever want to skip those parts, you're allowed to. you can
People
skip
being
ahead.
like, I didn't think I could.
Yeah. Because then after that, we go through scene by scene and talk through the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now it's for the factos.
Now it's time for the factos.
I can talk normal.
Horse Sense released November 20th, 1999.
Holy crap. I was about to say I wasn't born yet. Yes, I was. I was almost a year old.
Yeah, I was born already. And you're older than me, so...
I was almost a year old.
Big deal. This is the 12th DCOM.
That is shockingly early.
It feels
me.
decently normal to me.
In my mind, it was a little later in the count.
Yeah. The director of this film is Greg Beeman, who is the person I believe we have talked about the most.
He's done so much.
We've already talked about him for Under Wraps, Brink, Miracle in Lane 2, and A Ring of Endless Light. And we're going to talk about him one more time after, because he did The Ultimate Christmas Present too.
Yeah, Brink was pretty recently too.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to zoom by him. He did other TV shows like Jag, Smallville, and Heroes, whatever.
Yeah, we've talked about him a bunch. Well, and we'll see you one more time, Greg. Thanks for being here.
You know who we haven't talked about much?
Who?
Joey Lawrence. He is the star of this film as Michael Woods. He was a part of the Lawrence brothers. Wow. Can you guess if his brother's also in this? He was a child star. He was in a bunch of sitcoms as a kid. He was in Blossom, Melissa and Joey, Gimme a Break, and Brotherly Love. That one stars both of his brothers.
Whoa.
Yeah.
He's that guy. Right? He goes, whoa.
I think so.
I just Googled it. I'm pretty sure it's him. I'm pretty sure he was on Celebrity Big Brother.
Yeah, he's done a lot of various stuff. Honestly, I didn't write down too much because if you don't know him, it's just kind of going to be listing off a bunch of credits. And if you do know him, you know he's done a lot. Yeah,
he was on Celebrity Big Brother.
You gotta be a big deal to be on Celebrity Big Brother. They only have A-listers.
Yeah, in that season of Celebrity Big Brother, they talked about him going, whoa, but they did not talk about him starring in this hit DCOM Horse Sense, so what the heck?
Yeah, I feel like they misread their audience there.
For real, for real.
He had the lead role in Disney Animation's film Oliver and Company.
What? That's crazy. Yeah. That's pretty fun.
Thought that was worth a mention. Again, he has a bunch of other roles and stuff that I think were less worth a mention, but that one is literally the star of a Disney film. Disney movie, even if it's one that's not super well remembered.
Yeah, he's also in the sequel to Horse Sense.
Yes. I didn't mention that, but basically everyone at least has a cameo.
Well, he has a leading role in that.
Yeah. We'll talk about it.
It's called Jumping Ship, if y'all are curious. We will cover it eventually.
Yes. He had some success as a singer-songwriter. He had a top 20 Billboard hit. Huh. Just kind of wild to think about. It was called Nothing My Love Can't Fix.
Did you
Very
listen
90s.
to it?
I did not. No. I should have probably. But he had some other songs that had like reached the charts and stuff. But it was clear. It was just like, can we make this child star into a musician? And the answer was, with a lot of effort, you could try. Yeah. But he actually started a band with his brothers as well, but they didn't do anything successful.
Okay.
Yeah. That's Joey Lawrence. Yeah. He's one of our main characters. The other one is, believe it or not, Andrew Lawrence.
Yes! I love Andrew Lawrence. We've already talked about him once.
Yes. He's in Going to the Mat. So yeah, we've already talked about that.
Yes, that's when we talked about him. And he plays Tommy in this movie, which I cut you off. Yeah, we talked about him Going to the Mat. He's also in The Other Me, which I love. And I think when we first did our first marathon of all the DCOMs, we actually like watched these kind of in order of like Horse Sense and then The Other Me and then Going to the Mat, which was cool because we got to see him like get older. Mm-hmm. I don't know when we watched Jumping Ship, somewhere in there. Which was my love for him grew as we watched those three movies, especially in like The Other Me, obviously. I love that one, which we haven't talked about yet, so y'all don't even know.
You don't even know.
Y'all don't even know what a little cutie pie he is.
So we've already talked about him before, so I'm going to speed through this a little bit. He was the main role of the animated show Recess.
Pretty cool.
That was somewhat of a big deal. He has a lot of various TV and voice work. He recently was like in Battlefield 4 and Dead Rising 3 as major voice credits in there. Now he does a good bit of directing. He actually directed a film that Joey Lawrence starred in, a Lifetime film, and met his wife there. So he introduced them together. They since got divorced, so it's not nearly as interesting as a story. But he at one point like casted his brother into a wife.
I just looked him up because I'm like, I wonder if he's attractive now because he's older than me, like by a decent bit. So it wouldn't be weird for me to crush on him. He doesn't look as good in these days. He didn't age as well as I was hoping.
No Ryan Merriman.
No Ryan Merriman. So, unfortunate.
Give me off the cuff your top 3 DCOM boys that you hope age like fine wine.
Well, some I know age like fine wine. What's his name?
Luke Benward.
How
did I pull that and you did?
I couldn't remember his name. Luke Benward. I love Zac Efron. And unfortunately, Zac Efron of late doesn't look the same. But for a while, he looked real good. And who's my other like DCOM crush? It probably is Andrew Lawrence, particularly in Going to the Mat when he was like actually a teenager with a love interest. Because in his other movies, he's like literally a child. But yeah, unfortunately, Andrew Lawrence, I would say, aged the least good.
Damn.
Although I do like Ryan Merriman too. I would put him in like top 5.
Ryan Merriman got hot, but now he's not.
That was
still
a
my
real
favorite
article.
little clickhole article. Yeah. Okay. Next up we have Susan Walters, who plays the role of Jules Biggs. That's Tommy's mom.
Yeah.
She was a soap opera star.
Cool.
She was in Loving and The Young and the Restless.
I only watched Days of Our Lives. So.
Yeah, so I didn't write down their names or anything. She also had notable roles on One Tree Hill, The Vampire Diaries, and Teen Wolf.
Pretty big.
Yeah. I don't think she's a huge star or anything, but she's got cred.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next we have MC Gainey, who played Twister. We've actually technically already talked about him before. I say technically because it was short, brief, and Entangled Before Ever After.
Did we actually mention him?
Yes.
We did? Who was he?
He's the captain of the Palace Guard.
Oh, isn't that what's her name's dad?
I think so.
Yeah. The one who's like, she's definitely going to be evil, but then she's not evil. But then apparently in the show she is.
Yeah.
That one.
We remember.
Y'all know.
We remember these. We've seen that movie twice. We remember. Cassandra.
Yeah. Cassandra!
Boom. I actually remembered.
Oh my God.
Proved you wrong.
Cassandra from Tangled Before Ever After and Tangled the series.
Yeah. He's actually quite famous.
Really?
Yeah, he's a pretty famous character actor. He's in a lot of stuff. He's like a very well-established character actor.
Huh.
He's probably best known for Lost, where he was a part of the main cast.
I think he's best known as Twister in Horse Sense.
I don't think so. He also has notable roles in Con Air, Sideways, Django Unchained. He just kind of gets typecast as like racist cop.
Damn. Well, this one he's not racist cop. He's like bulky ranch worker.
Yeah.
Why is he here? Why is he working for these guys? For
I don't
fun,
know.
I guess.
For money, probably.
For the love of the ranch.
For the love of the game. Okay. Next, we're going to go to Michael's parents, because why not? We have Leanne Hunley, who played JC Woods. She is best known for playing Anna DiMera on Days of Our Lives.
Holy shit.
Yes,
Anna,
during the time that you were watching.
Hold on, I'm looking it up. She's like the actress for it?
Yes.
Shut up. Of course I know who that is. Yes, I watch her. She's kind of crazy on Days of Our Lives. She had this love interest, Tony DiMera, who is also a twin, and he had an evil twin who was Andre DiMera, whatever. Tony died. She had this whole story arc where she was carrying around his little urn in her purse, and then that urn was used to kill Andre.
Whoa.
It was crazy. Oh my gosh, I can't believe she's in this movie. She looks so different. And I guess it's because that was in 1999. And I watched her in 2012 or whatever. So time passed. So she was a little older. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked because I don't watch any Days of Our Lives, so I'm like, you normally can pick out the people and be like, I've seen her in something, and it's usually Days of Our Lives.
Yeah, no,
and
that's true.
This time you said nothing. I'm like, oh, you'll find out.
No, she looked different enough that I didn't recognize her. Like enough time had passed. So, and she wasn't like a huge role when I watched Days of Our Lives. She would like come and go and never had like a super long stay. So that's why.
She was also on the ABC soap opera Dynasty. That's the only other thing that was like a major role.
Okay.
Yeah. Next we have Robin Thomas, who played Glenn Woods. That's the dad. He's been in a bunch of TV and film roles from like the 80s to the 2020s, but nothing that notable. This one I'm going to mention is not a crazy big role, but it's just a piece of media that I know you like. He was Greg's dad in Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, he's bleep. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, that's kind of a big spoiler.
Sorry. Y'all should watch Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Forget the spoiler I said. And watch it because it's like one of my favorite shows of all time.
You could always just bleep out the spoiler.
Bleep.
Now you're going to just edit your words and saying bleep to be in that space.
Yeah.
That's great, actually. I like that. You better do that. I'm going to listen to this one. Next up, I have Jolly Jenkins as Gina.
You don't think it's Jolie?
It's probably Jolie, but I like Jolly better.
I think it's Jolie Jenkins.
She is probably now best known in her currently airing role of playing the mother in The Really Loud House. That, you know, the animated show The Loud House on Nickelodeon?
Not really.
It's a big deal.
Okay.
It is a big show.
Sure.
She plays the role of the mom in the live action version of the Loud House.
Okay.
It's like, it is a show. It has a bunch of stuff to it. The world's longest piece of fiction is a fan fiction based on The Loud House. That's your fun fact of the day.
That's wild.
The longest piece of media in human recorded history is fan fiction for The Loud House.
Like, it's written?
Yes.
How long is it?
Let's look it up. This is a fun fact. Over 31 million words long.
My God. Who did this? Who are you? What do you want?
So yeah, that's pretty crazy. From what I've heard, like, it's pretty dubious because they basically just have like full paragraphs that aren't logical.
I bet. Yeah.
And it's just like a bunch of characters being like described being in a room.
Has anyone ever read the whole thing?
Probably not.
I was gonna say probably. Like probably.
It's a lot of words.
That is a lot of words. But if you took the time, like a few paragraphs every day for many years.
It's getting actively written still.
Still?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
All right. Otherwise, Jolie Jenkins just has done really small TV and film roles. The only Disney connection I saw was she had a reoccurring small Liv and Maddie role.
Okay.
And that feels way later than anything Horse Sense related.
True.
The only other person I saw in the cast that I thought was worth mentioning in detail was the actress for Arlene, Freda Foch-Chen, because she actually has a decent Disney connection. She was the mom in Mulan.
That's cool.
Yeah. She also had a small role in Miracle in Lane 2.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you know what it was?
She was the psychiatrist.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then she had various other TV and minor film roles.
That's cool. I like when we find like the little tiny, like, oh, this person was like background character in this DCOM and this DCOM.
Yeah. And same director for this was just like, probably just a working connection.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So in the fun facts I put Jumping Ship is the sequel to this because again, it's not obvious at all.
No, I would not blame you if you're like, oh, I'm going to watch every single Disney Channel original movie. Who does this? But if you're like going through the list or whatever and you get to Jumping Ship and you just don't even realize it's a sequel and then you're like, wait a minute.
You could watch Jumping Ship and not realize it's a sequel.
It depends how long it's been since you watched Horse Sense because they are the same characters.
Yes.
And obviously the same actors. So you could be like, this is familiar. But like, the movies don't have much to do with each other either. It's just like the same characters doing something else. We'll talk about jumping ship when we get to it.
Yeah. Matthew Lawrence, that's the third Lawrence brother.
There's 3 of them.
Yeah, he has a brief cameo. He's the cowboy in the airport.
We will talk about
this. We have a lot of thoughts about this movie's weird sexual energy, and we'll talk about it shortly.
Yes.
But I will mention he has an actual role in Jumping Ship.
Yeah, he's a main character in Jumping Ship.
And it's not the same character as the cowboy.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah. And at the time of this movie's release, this is why I was saying you're underrating the power of this movie. When Horse Sense released, its premiere was the most watched Disney Channel thing ever.
Okay. I'm sure that didn't last long.
I mean, it beat out stuff like Halloween Town.
At premiere, nobody knew what Halloween Town was yet.
Well, also like reruns of Halloween Town. It would be past Halloween. Are
you talking just the premiere night?
I'm saying the single most watched viewing of us.
Of what? When? How long? Multiple nights? One night?
Just one show? Yeah. Here, you want me?
You're not being very clear.
I feel like I'm being incredibly clear for this. In the United States, Horse Sense premiered on Disney Channel November 20th, 1999. On its premiere night, the film had approximately 3.2 million viewers and was the most watched program during its time slot. The film was watched in approximately 2,054,000 households, more than any previous Disney Channel program. Up to that point, Horse Sense was also the second highest rated basic cable film for the month of November 1999.
Okay. I don't know. I'm not that impressed. I feel like it was probably beat very soon after.
Well, I'm saying there's a lot of films that people call classics and different aspects.
I still hold that nobody's ever heard of this movie. It didn't have staying power on Disney Channel.
I'm not arguing staying power. I'm saying also that I saw a bunch of people, though, who rank and review DCOMs. This is one that gets a lot of mentions.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
People talk about remembering this film.
That's crazy. In my circles, I've never heard anyone even hear of this movie before. But, you know, I was almost 1 year old when this movie came out. So. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember it airing, like re-airing on Disney Channel. But also, like, I barely even knew about Xenon, so...
Yeah, who are you to judge?
And Brink, like, and I know those ones are bigger. So I'm not the best judge for these early DCOMs of which ones were the most popular. This is literally the 12th DCOM, so...
Yeah. Okay.
Before we move on, there's no good time to talk about this, so I'm going to talk about it now. The poster for this movie is wild. It's crazy. It's what drew our attention initially of like, you know, we're looking through DCOMs like, oh, which one should we watch next? We're doing like kind of a random order when we watched them all the first time. I'm like, what is with this poster? This movie is very intriguing. So y'all know the poster to Brokeback Mountain? It's kind of like that with our two mains facing, their faces are looking at each other, right? Mm-hmm. And little Andrew Lawrence has like a straw that he's biting onto, like
not a plastic straw.
No, like like a wheat straw thing, you know, like how like cowboys do. And in most posters, when you Google the movie, the older one, what's Joey Lawrence? He's like biting onto like a phone antenna. Yeah. I thought it was a walkie-talkie, but you said it was a cell phone because this is the 90s. So he's like biting. So they're both like biting onto something. And it's very sexual. And maybe it's just because we've seen the Brokeback Mountain poster, but like it's weird. And it's weirder when you learn like, oh wait, these two are real life brothers.
Oh wait, there's a giant age difference between.
There's a giant age difference. They're real life brothers and in movie cousins. Like, that's not what they're supposed to be going for at all. If you go on to Disney Plus, they took out the like cell phone antenna. So that because it's too sexual.
It's wild that
I have no confirmation on this. All I know is that it's not there on Disney Plus, and I'm guessing it's because it's sexual. Like, Disney Plus people, please contact me and like own up to what you
the
did.
Other reason it could be TV or phone antennas will really make it seem like an old movie, and they may want to be going away from that. But yeah, there's not a good chance.
Yeah, so y'all look up the poster for this movie and tell me it's not very sexually charged, where it has absolutely no business being. It's insane. All right, moving on to the Disney Plus description. Do you want to hear the Disney Plus description?
In a world.
Oh. I said, do you want to hear it? And then you started doing it.
We'll say it at the same time.
Okay, let's, 3,
2, 1.
When 11-year-old Tommy visits his spoiled cousin Michael in Beverly Hills.
Why are you reading this with no emotion?
How dare you?
You're going, when 11-year-old Tommy.
Because we're reading at the same time.
I gotta do it with oomph, with pizzazz. In Beverly Hills. He feels completely out of place. But the tables turn when Michael is sent to Tommy's Montana ranch for the summer. At first, Tommy enjoys watching a miserable Michael attempt to acclimate himself to ranch life. But everything changes when the family learns the bank might foreclose on their home. The possibility of losing the ranch spurs the two cousins to pull together to save it. This is just false. I honestly was not comprehending what it was saying because I was so focused on reading it weirdly. So let me just briefly look over again. Okay, saying he just feels out of place in Beverly Hills. No, Michael was a dick to him. Like every sentence is wrong, roughly. Tables turn when he's sent out. Okay, that's true. Well, not for the full summer. It really reads like it is. It's a month. Yeah. So, I mean, it's at least a good chunk of the summer. At first, Tommy enjoys watching him being miserable. That's true. Everything changes when the family learns that they knew the bank was gonna foreclose literally the whole time. Yep. So it's not like it switches. Maybe they should have said like Michael learns about it, but even then, like, possibility of losing the ranch spurs two cousins to pull together. Say no, they never pull together. This is a horrible description. It's really bad. They're never like, oh, we need to work together to save the ranch. That literally never happens. Perhaps we've treated Halloween Town too harshly. Yeah, this honestly is probably worse than the Halloween Town one, because I know Halloween Town really just had like one untrue thing. I'm very curious if the next Halloween Town is going to be wrong. That's the next one we're watching. Oh my gosh. Spoiler alert for the end of the episode. Anyway, yeah, like every sentence of this is wrong. Disney Plus, call us up. We will rewrite this for you. I don't know why they haven't called me yet. I have so many things to say about horse sense. Anyway, you ready to jump into the movie? I am ready to luck of the Irish into the movie. I thought you were gonna say jumping ship. Nah, too obvious. Too obvious. Gotta keep them on their toes. I've got Adventures in Babysitting them. All right. So we open up on the movie. These are my first 3 bullet points. DCOM, farm shot, cows. Beautiful. That's what this movie is. And then we get a country logo that says horse sense. It's actually a pretty fun movie logo. At what point did the DCOM stop having unique logos? No, they have unique logos still. At least they did Upside Down Magic. Like, I know that one. Spin did too. And Spin. Yeah, so it's not like they're completely gone. I feel like Prom Pact might not have been. Or did they? I don't remember. I don't know. Big City Greens has like the show logo. Yeah. Oh, I feel like these early ones, it feels so obvious. Like, they're like, oh, when we show the title, we're going to show the logo. And sometimes I think it may have just been a lot of the logos are boring. They change them a lot than like what's on the movie poster. Yeah. I think. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, we see someone making breakfast, and I said it looks so good. All of the breakfast in this movie just always looks so good. They did. Whoever was the chef on set does a good job. Yeah.
We see like pics of the family on the ranch. And then we hear like, Tommy, come down for breakfast.
Yummy, yummy breakfast in your tummy. I'm a good contributor to this podcast. I'm here to add the color commentary.
No, that was a direct quote. We see Tommy like whittling. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah, whittling some wood.
Yeah, he's making a whistle.
Yeah, he's making a whistle for Michael, his older cousin. He wants to give it to him when he goes to Beverly Hills to visit him. And we see like he has to go catch a plane, and he's like, Mom, should I maybe not go because you need so much help here? And she's like, no. It's only 4 days. Like, you should go visit your cousin. You've been looking forward to it. Go on. So they leave the ranch. And Tommy, as they're leaving, you hear, what's it like in Beverly Hills? And his mom goes, oh, it's different from here. And then we cut to Michael's bedroom, right? He's waking up.
We gotta focus on this a little bit. This is so weird. And you forget it by the end of the movie, but it's stuck with me. His alarm clock's
freaking weird. So it's a video on like a little alarm clock. It's a video of a woman's lips going, Michael, wake up. Wake up. It's 12:15. Wake up. Wake up. It's 12:15.
This is not a film that's trying to like predict the future or anything. It is trying to say he's grossly rich, but this is not a way to show it.
No. Do you think that was his girlfriend, like, just making a recording?
That is honestly a better answer than anything I could come up with.
His girlfriend of 2 weeks. Because it definitely was just like a recording of a woman's lips. It was literally just zoomed in all the way to her lips, going, wake up.
How does that help you wake up?
It's 12:15.
I guess all he does in the film is sleep in, so maybe it doesn't help.
So Michael goes downstairs and he has some like gross grass juice or something. He like clearly is a health nut. His mom is there and is like, hey, you need to go pick up Tommy from the airport today. And Michael's like, no, I have a date with Gina, my new girlfriend of 2 weeks. Her dad is a big movie director.
Her dad's a big deal.
Yeah. And the mom's like, whatever, just make sure you like go pick up Tommy. I don't care about your girlfriend. I have to go to a fundraiser in Palm Springs, and you gotta spend time with him.
Yeah. He's your cousin.
He's your cousin. And also he's had a hard time after losing his father.
What?
I'm sure Gina will understand. A Disney
protagonist who has a dead parent?
That's never happened before.
That's happened many times.
So then we cut to school. Michael's in college and he's there with Gina and they're flirting and they're talking about going on this big Europe trip together.
He's in this like real estate development class.
Yeah.
It's important. The teacher's like, later. Some of you needed to spend more time studying land trusts.
Yeah, and then he gets his like paperback and he got a D on it. And after class, Gina gives him a present. She's like, it's for a 2-week anniversary. Well, it's a little early, but I wanted to give it to you now. And he opens it and it's a watch. And then he's like, wait, is that time accurate? Oh my gosh, I'm 30 minutes late to pick up my cousin. So he runs off to go pick up Tommy, and that means by the time he got to the airport, it was probably like over an hour late.
Yeah, he's not great about this.
Oh my gosh.
But also, this is presumably right after class, so what was going on with the whole plan? Was he supposed to
skip class?
I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe he was well after class. He was just with Gina. Anyway, Michael shows up to the airport and he's like, hey Tommy, sorry I'm late. And Tommy's like, it's okay. And they drive away in the convertible and Michael, as they're driving, like, hey, it's good to see you. And then Gina calls and Tommy keeps trying to give him the like whistle that he made, but instead like Michael answers the phone and it's Gina and she's talking and blah blah blah. They talk, I don't know. And then Michael's like, oh, we're gonna stop at a jewelry store so I can get a gift for Gina
for your 2-week anniversary.
Yeah,
man, it's like our 5-year dating anniversary and I'm not getting you anything.
Why not?
Are you getting me anything?
No.
See?
Maybe we should. Maybe we'll just go to a really nice dinner. Okay, so poor Tommy's already being a little neglected. So they get home to the giant mansion and they talk a little bit to Michael's mom. And they're like, oh yeah, you're going to Disneyland. That's going to be cool. Are you going to go tomorrow? And Michael's like, tomorrow? No. Saturday will be too crowded. Like, let's go Monday. And then Michael's dad shows up and we learn like, okay, the parents are leaving for their Palm Springs fundraiser thing. Mm-hmm. So Michael's going to be left with Tommy all weekend.
Tommy's in charge. Woo!
Tommy's in charge?
No, yeah, Michael's in charge. Michael's in charge. Woo!
Okay, so they leave and then Michael shows Tommy all the cool stuff they have. He's like, look at this big TV. And he turns on the TV and Brink is playing on the TV.
Who was directed by the same director.
Of course. It's also just like there's only 11 other DCOMs it could be.
Well, you could do a just classic Disney movie. That would make more sense.
No, it does. No, Disney Channel. Yeah. Show the Disney Channel movie. They mentioned like High School Musical and The Slumber Party. Like Disney Channel. Anyway, they're like, Michael's like, cool, so you want to stay here and watch TV? I'm gonna go over to Gina's and give her the necklace I bought. Unless you don't want me to. And Tommy's like, no, it's okay, it's fine. Tommy's like a really good kid. Like, he's really polite and nice.
He's very cool.
He's giving Michael a lot of grace. Don't get on his
bad side. He's wonderful.
Yeah. So now it's a new day. Tommy's getting breakfast made for him by Arlene, and again, it looks so freaking good. Michael shows up and then he just ditches Tommy again. He just leaves. I don't even remember where he's going this time. He's like, don't worry, we got lots of time. And Tommy's like, well, I was hoping we could go to like Adventure World and go to the beach.
He's got all this exciting stuff to do in Beverly Hills.
Yeah. And Michael's like, yeah, I'll come back later, whatever. Instead, Tommy has to spend the day alone in the mansion playing with a soccer ball by himself and playing tennis by himself. And it gets to nighttime and Michael still isn't spending any time with Tommy. And days pass by and Michael just never spends time with him.
Yeah,
he's really, left alone in the mansion.
Really depressing.
It's so sad, actually. It makes me really bad.
This movie does a lot of small things right to be able to make it paint a realistic caricature of just the guy who sleeps in all day and is ignoring his cousin for his own selfish goods while not fully realizing how bad he's being.
Yeah. By the way, Tommy's like 11 and Michael is 20, they say.
Yeah.
So
I feel like he might be a little older than 11, but
I'm pretty sure they say 11-year-old.
Damn.
Yeah. I have it in my notes at some point, I think, but yeah. We also see just Tommy spend some time with the housekeeper. Her name's Arlene, and he like cooks food for her and does some lasso stuff. So now it's a new day. Arlene is like being mad at Michael. Like she didn't make him his drink and she's really pissed off at him. She goes, Tommy has not left the house the whole time he's been here. And Michael's like, it's fine, we got time. And Arlene's like, no, he's leaving tomorrow. You don't have time. And then Tommy comes down and Michael's like, hey buddy, how's it going? And
you
Tommy,
ready to go to Disneyland? We're doing it today.
Yeah, Tommy at first gives him the cold shoulder that he's like, you want to go to Disneyland today? And Tommy's like, for real this time? And Michael's like, yes, of course, let's go right now. So they get in the convertible and they're leaving. And Michael's like, hey, I'm sorry this week has gone by so fast. And Tommy's like, it's okay. Chicks can mess with your head sometimes.
How would you know that?
Yeah. And then Gina calls. Because of course she does.
Because of course Gina calls. They haven't seen enough of each other on their 2-week anniversary weekend.
Yeah. She says, Daddy is wondering if you would like to meet him today. It would mean a lot to me. And Michael's like, no, we're going to Disneyland. She's like, please, I want you to meet my daddy.
She bats her eyes, but you can't see it.
Phone. But so he caves in and he's like, all right, Tommy, here, I'll drop you off at Kiddie Zone and I'll be right back. And it's like clearly meant for toddlers, this place. It's like ball pits and slides and tunnels. Like,
looks pretty fun, I'm not gonna lie.
Not for an 11-year-old.
Not Disneyland.
Yeah. All right, so then we're at a horse track. That's where Michael meets Gina and her dad. They're like betting on horses and stuff. Gina's dad is like, I like this one, Gina. And Michael's like, I gotta go. But the dad's like, no, you gotta stay in the race. You've
been picking all the right horses.
Yeah, so he stays. And then later we see Michael running out and he's like trying to get back because he knows he has to pick up Tommy. And he crashes into a car in the parking lot because he's backing out too quickly.
Whoopsie.
And the lady's really mad and he's like, I'm so sorry. Like, here's my info. I have to go to family emergency. And she's like, oh, family emergency. He's like, yeah, here's my info, like my insurance, whatever. I gotta go. So he goes to Kitty Zone and he's looking all over for Tommy. He starts running around and like climbing through the tunnels and stuff. And it's this whole sequence of this grown man running around this Kitty Zone. It's supposed to be funny.
It's supposed to be funny. This is one that doesn't land.
Yeah. And then he's like, hey.
I do though enjoy, they do a bit of like camera special effects where they're trying to like make it look like it's way crazier than it is when it's not. They'll do like a fishbowl lens or like the camera's like shaky and rotating like you're dizzy when it's just him sitting there.
Yeah. And then he goes and asks a worker, which he should have done in the first place. And he's like, hey, where's Tommy? And they're like, oh, he called Arlene to pick him up. So he left. He was really disappointed. So then Michael gets back to the mansion. He's like, where's Tommy? And Arlene is pissed. She's like, we tried to call you. And then Michael goes to yell at Tommy, like, why'd you do that? I was worried about you or whatever. And Tommy's like, fuck off, my guy. You only care about yourself. I can't wait to go home tomorrow.
Dang. So sad.
He's like, and I even like left my mom to come here and see you. Like,
she could really use my help.
Yeah.
Sounds dramatic, but when you get there, it sounds actually true.
And then Michael's like, I was at the horse racing track. And Tommy's like, oh, great. You left me to go see some animals that are abused. And Michael's like, they're just horses.
It's and like, you don't have the horse sense.
Exactly. He don't have the horse sense.
This is not Ready to Run.
Yeah, Ready to Run is pro horse racing, and this movie is very much not pro horse racing. And
they came out pretty near each other.
Yeah, I think so.
Kind of wild. Yeah, they came out within a year of each other.
Don't watch these
Disney
ones back
Channel,
to back.
maybe start like unifying yourself a little more.
Pick a side Disney Channel. So then Michael's parents come home and Tommy kind of downplays how bad it was. Like, oh yeah, we had a great time. And then he leaves and Michael's dad is like, oh, hey, I saw the damage on your car. What's up with that? And Michael's like, oh, hit and run. Can you believe it? So he's lying about what happens.
Bad lie too. Yeah. Come on. Don't lie about that.
So the next day, Tommy is leaving. He looks really sadly at the whistle that he never gave to Michael. And he's obviously this trip was just a whole waste of time. Really sad for him. He says goodbye to his aunt and uncle. And he tells them, hey, if Michael ever comes out to the ranch, I'd love to return the favor. So he's like, Michael's dead to me. Like, I hate Michael. All right. So that night, they're eating dinner, Michael with his parents, and the mom is pissed. She says, I talked to my sister today. Tommy told her everything.
He really thought he was going to get away with just being an asshole the whole weekend.
And it's because, like, Tommy wasn't telling the parents, but of course he told his mom that was horrible. And then the mom's going to tell her sister, like, your son was an asshole to my son. And Michael...
You gotta fix that.
So she's like, yeah, I talked to my sister. And Michael's like, is everything okay? And dad goes, oh, suddenly you care. Damn. You dropped him off at a kiddie zone, so you go to a racetrack? The whole time you were either sleeping in or not here. And Michael's like, well, time just flew by and I had stuff to do. And then the cops show up at the door.
What a wild timing.
Yeah, horrible timing.
They hear a doorbell ring and he's like, I'll go get it.
They're
like, cops.
They're like, hey, so Michael's dad goes and answers the door and they're like, hey, your son hit a woman's car and gave her wrong information. Luckily, she was smart enough to look at his license plate as he drove away because he wrote down a wrong license plate.
Yikes.
Oh my gosh.
Jeepers.
So not only is he an asshole for what he did to his cousin, He gave a woman wrong car information after he hit her, as if he's not fucking rich. It's because he didn't want his dad to find out. But, ugh. So the parents yell at him some more. Michael's like, you acting like I intentionally wrote down the wrong numbers. It was an accident. Like, how do you unintentionally write down wrong numbers?
Yeah, the dad's like, I don't think you did write the wrong one on.
He's like, even if that's true, you told us it was a hit and run, and that was just a lie.
He's like, well, technically, I did hit. And then I ran.
I ran to pick up Tommy. And they're like, shut the fuck up. Well, you pretty much can't go to Europe anymore.
He's like, what?
What? And Michael's like, hey, come on. I will call Tommy and apologize. And I will take some money out of my trust to fix a car and fly Tommy out again and treat him right.
What job does its family have?
Rich.
They're so rich.
It's obviously the dad. I feel like the mom and her sister came from more humble beginnings. But yeah.
Well, even like the value of the ranch at its peak, then we get to see it, must have been a lot of money.
Wasn't the ranch, didn't that belong to Tommy's dad's family?
Maybe, yeah.
I think it did.
You might be right about that.
Yeah. Anyway. So Michael's like, yeah, I'll like take money out. I'll fly him out. Treat him right. And dad's like, no. Your trust fund money isn't meant for that. You're 20 years old, Michael. Time to grow up.
Good one.
You're going to go to the ranch and give your aunt a hand for free for a month. And if I hear one negative report from Jules, that's the mom, or Tommy, that you're not doing a good job, your trip is definitely canceled. And
what like this has been 20 minutes. Honestly, one of the best, like in terms of getting the job done expositions a DCOM has. They get through the entire like rich portion because they're like, the movie's going to be about the ranch portion.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's very efficient. Never feels like forced in any way.
I feel like I know exactly who these characters are and their motivations.
Yeah.
And they do a good job of like, you're supposed to hate Michael right now. You're supposed to like Tommy.
You're supposed to hate Michael but feel like he's a believable person.
Yeah.
Which is a harder balance than it seems.
He does feel like a believable person. He's just like living his own life and not caring. And he's like a classic kind of rich boy, but not over the top. Yeah. Which is good. I think this movie does good.
This movie has way more nuance than a lot of other DCOMs.
Yeah. So then it zooms into Michael's face and he goes, Montana. So then they get to Montana. He flies in and Michael's wearing a very fancy cowboy outfit and nobody's helping him with his bags. What the heck? Okay. And then this is the moment. So a cowboy, who I'm saying is a cowboy because he's wearing like a hat and, you know,
hat,
whatever.
vest, everything.
He bumps into Michael and they kind of like run into each other and then they like look at each other and the cowboy like looks Michael up and down and kind of like smiles at him. It really looks like he
grabs his hat and goes.
Yeah, it really looks like this is a gay cowboy checking Michael out.
Without knowing they're related, there would be no way of reading this as anything else.
Yeah, this is Joey Lawrence's real life brother.
Yeah.
Who's in the sequel. I forgot
his
name.
It's weird. Andrew Lawrence.
Andrew Lawrence is
Matthew Lawrence.
Matthew Lawrence. This is Matthew Lawrence. So like, another instance of weird sexual tension in this movie that's actually just another Lawrence brother. I'm sorry. I really wish it wasn't Matthew Lawrence because then I could just ship these guys.
But I mean, is it unethical for two actors that are related to play unrelated characters in a romantic relationship?
Yes.
Genuinely.
Yes, it's unethical.
But they're acting.
So? So you're like, Sharpay and Ryan could definitely like kiss.
Yeah, I'm sure they've played the male and female leads of a theatrical performance.
That's weird. That's weird.
It's fiction. It's fiction in fiction.
That's true. This is, that is fiction because the actors in real life aren't related, but we're pretending that they would be.
Yeah. I feel like that's a more interesting question. Just trying to figure out.
Well, I mean, in Game of Thrones, there's two actors that sleep with each other that are twins, but in real life, they're not. But nobody says it's a good thing. Anyway, let's move on. So that's the gay cowboy incident.
Honestly, the most interesting 5 seconds of the movie.
Yeah. And again, Matthew Lawrence comes in the sequel as a completely different character, but this is definitely one he can get away with being like, oh, that's not me. Because it was a 2-second character. The point is supposed to be like, oh, he's checking out the weird outfit that Michael is wearing. Because he's wearing really fancy boots.
That's the straight explanation.
Yeah. But like, I don't think they pulled it off well. It feels very sexually charged.
Yeah.
All right, so then Jules and Tommy pick Michael up. Tommy's like, nice boots. And then he kind of smiles coyly at him like, I'm going to fuck your life up.
He is very excited about this just for revenge.
He immediately got what he wanted, which is bring Michael out to the ranch so I can torture him. Yeah.
And it's good. And I feel like he does it well.
No, he knew exactly. He's like, this pretty boy would not last 2 seconds on my ranch. I can get revenge on him in the most innocent way possible.
Yep.
Because all I have to do is just make him work on the ranch and he's going to be miserable. Which he does a little bit more manipulation, but like, we'll talk about it. So they're driving home to the ranch. Michael's like, I want a latte. And Jules is like, there's no coffee houses around here, which is weird that there's no like cafe. Wouldn't there be a cafe in Montana?
That's also more of a recent invention, like the Starbucksification of everything.
Well, not even a Starbucks, I'm thinking just like a local cafe.
Yeah, I'm saying cafes really boomed in the last 25 years.
Okay. Jules is like, I have to go inside and make a quick errand. And Michael tries to talk to Tommy. And he's like, you want to go see a movie or something? And Tommy's like, Jules is like talking to a bank guy. I think like you don't get to hear the dialogue. You just see her inside. And Tommy's like watching, worried. Mm-hmm. And then she comes outside and she like kind of shakes her head at Tommy. Like that didn't go well.
Man. Wonder if that's foreshadowing anything in particular.
Yeah, they're gonna like randomly find out about the ranch and then work together to save it. Haven't you read the description?
Yeah.
So then they arrive to the ranch and we get to meet Mule and Twister. They're some guys that just work on the ranch.
Yeah.
They help
Twister
out.
has way bigger of a role than Mule.
Yeah, but Mule's around.
He has like 3 lines.
Yeah. Twister is like not impressed with Michael at all. He like looks at his hands. Michael has soft hands.
It's like, oh, you're not gonna be able to do a day's work with those.
And they're like
rippers.
They're like nice boots, and he's like, thanks, they're Italian leather. And then they're like, so that means the cows moo with an accent.
So good.
And then Max the dog growls at Michael because he's a good boy.
Yeah, not Max the dog from the Grinch. Just another dog named Max.
He's a border collie.
You might forget they have a dog because it honestly does not come up.
He herds the cattle later. And then they head inside. Michael is going to be sharing a bunk bed with Tommy. So Tommy's like, yep, this is our room. And then Michael like sets his bags down and he looks around and he sees a picture of Michael and Tommy together back when they kind of had their big like meeting moment at the family reunion that's mentioned later. Like they really hit it off, and that's why Tommy was so excited to go visit Michael when he did. And Michael kind of sits down on the bed, but he can't really sit on it because it's a bunk bed. And then he calls Gina and he's like complaining about the ranch.
It's like, Gina, you won't believe this. I do have cell service out here.
And Gina's like, I just want you to go to Aspen. He's like, I can't. I'm here in Montana. But I'm doing this so we can go to Europe together.
Him and Gina like still are dating. Their relationship is 2 weeks old, and they're
very committed.
They're very committed, very much still talking to each other and doing stuff. So maybe they're built to last.
Yeah, they go, okay, bye, love you. They say love you.
They say love. They're very quick.
Which they're both rich, so they have interest in that, and they're both attractive, so I guess they have that going too. Maybe they just genuinely get along with each other.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
Yeah. All right, so then, Michael's outside, and Tommy goes, boo! And he's up in the treehouse, and he's scared of Michael. And it's an unfinished treehouse. Just noting that for later.
That may come up later.
Tommy's like, oh, come on, Michael, I want to show you the TV dish. So they head inside. And they mentioned this very specific like antique where the TV is inside. It was like a wedding gift for Tommy's parents. And it's like really, really old antique, like passed down through the family. And he's like, you want to watch something? Or I guess Michael says like, you want to watch TV? And Tommy's like, oh no, I'm going to go to bed. And Michael's like, it's still light outside. And Tommy's like,
I'm tired.
I'm tired. I've had a long day. But you can stay up as long as you like. Good night. So Michael
he's very
TV.
much saying it in like there's a catch here.
Yeah.
But someone may be too dumb to realize.
Yup. So then early the next morning, Tommy wakes Michael up with a big bang of a triangle. You know, the musical instrument.
Yeah, not like just the shape.
We have to clarify. Michael's like, it's 4:30 a.m. I only went to bed a couple hours ago. Tommy says, aw, well, maybe you should have gone to bed a little earlier then. And Michael's like, I want to sleep more. And Tommy just dings on the triangle. 2 words, French Riviera. Ooh. And Michael's like, you were listening to me. And Tommy's like, yup, 4467, blah, 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 whatever. He recites a phone number. He's like, you have my phone number memorized? And Tommy's like, yeah, you want to hear your dad's phone number?
He's like, shit.
You better behave now or I'm going to call. Get dressed. And Michael says, I can't believe I'm being blackmailed by an 11-year-old.
That's just like a trailer shot.
Yeah, for real. And it proves he is 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm being blackmailed by an 11-year-old.
Next on Disney Channel. I can't believe I'm being blackmailed by an 11-year-old.
Nee!
You're watching Horse Sense.
On Disney Channel. Bam, 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 bam. So then Michael heads down for breakfast, which again looks so good.
A good country breakfast is one of the most visually appealing things.
Eggs, sausage,
pancakes,
like so freaking good. Michael's like, these eggs look weird, and Twister's like, that's what it looks like when they're good country eggs or whatever.
Yeah, they're very much hammering that point home.
Which, have you ever had fresh eggs? They're very good. He's like, Michael's just weirded out by this food, which is like, it's very normal food, but he's like, do you have turkey bacon? And they're like, bacon comes from a pig, son. And then Tommy talks about a horse he saw. We're assuming it was a horse. Like, it's foreshadowing to later. He like watches a pack of wild horses. And then they say, so Tommy, you gonna take Michael with you today? And Tommy's like, no, he should stick around the ranch instead of being on a horse all day. You know, he probably wants to get used to the ranch. Michael is like, yeah, I want to just get acclimated to the ranch.
Fell right into Tommy's trap.
For real.
Tommy wanted him to say that.
Yeah. So then Tommy takes Michael out. They see a bull in the side of a fence who's very angry. An angry bull. Why does he just have a bull separated? I guess if all your cows are girls. I don't know. There's a cattle ranch. I don't know the inner workings of a cattle ranch.
They gotta impregnate the cows so that they
have babies.
They can make milk.
Yeah, and have babies.
Although, I don't know the 90s of farming if they have artificial pregnancies for cows at that point.
I have no idea.
Cows are wild.
Yeah.
Shout out cows. Any cows in the audience?
So then Tommy's like, look, this is a giant pile of manure. It has to be moved over there in front of the pen to be picked up by a truck. To it. Yeah. And Michael's like, I have to do it? No way can I move that. And Tommy's like, hey, you're the one who said you wanted to stick around the ranch today. Get acclimated, whatever that means.
Completely turns him around.
Tommy's so funny. He's such a smart kid, and he's very polite, but he also like knows what he's doing. Mm-hmm. Michael says, how would I even move this heap? And Tommy's like, I don't know, up to you. You're the one that goes to college. So then Tommy leaves with Mule and Twister on horseback, and Michael grabs a shovel. And we see him bringing just big wheelbarrows of poopy.
Of shit.
I was trying not to swear. Of duty. over where it needs to go. And the bull is still going like, angry bull noise.
I'm a bull. Grr.
And then we see Michael fall in the poop.
Goop.
That is a goop.
Yeah.
And Twister comes back and laughs at him. And he's like, you should have used that tractor to save those pretty boots of yours. And Michael's like, tractor?
Right around the corner.
Yeah,
Tommy's tractor.
Tommy says, I thought you would have seen it. It's right over there. And Michael goes around the shed or whatever and he sees the tractor.
Man, what a good prank. I wonder if they're going to do essentially the same exact prank like 2 more times.
Yeah. It's really just Tommy, like...
Tommy will be like, you got to do this. But there's a secret to it, but I'm not going to tell you.
But it's like obvious enough that Michael could have figured it out, so Tommy can be like, hey, you're just being stupid.
Yeah, it's just salt in the wound.
Yeah. So then later, Michael showers for like an hour to get the poop smell off him. The poop. It's just poop.
It's all poop.
Tommy talks to his mom on the porch, and his mom's name is Jules. She says they're going to go live with Uncle Hank until they can get their feet on the ground. And Tommy says, can't the bank just wait a little longer? But they just owe them too much money. They're going to hold an auction for a lot of their stuff in 4 weeks. And Jules says, well, let's just keep this between us, okay? And then Michael comes out and he's like, oh, I feel much better. And Tommy's like, yeah, you showered for an hour. And Michael's like, so what are you guys looking at? And Jules says, God's painting again.
So country.
It's very country, yeah.
God's painting again.
God's painting again. It's a sunset. And he's like, oh, yeah, it's nice. And then Tommy goes to bed and he says, hey, Michael, you going to watch more TV tonight?
He's like, no.
Nope, not tonight. So then Tommy leaves. And Michael's like, wow, it's really quiet here. It's really different from LA. And then he's like, what's up with that treehouse? And Jules says, oh, it's a project.
She starts pouring her heart into
this. For real. Like, it's a project Tommy's dad started before he got sick. And Michael says, I'm sorry about Uncle John. And Jules like, yeah, me too. This ranch was his life. Our life. They cut all the wood and put it there to work later. Sometimes Tommy works on it, but he never seems to have the time to finish it. And then she looks over and Michael like fell asleep. Just sitting there because he's really tired. Next day, Michael's like, all right, today I'm coming out on a horse. I'm not hauling shit again. So Tommy's like, all right, here's a saddle, blah, blah, blah. That's what you're going to do. We're going to go and track some wolves. And
yeah, the neighbors reported that there might be some wolves nearby. So they got to go investigate that because that would be bad.
Yes. Tommy's like, this is my horse. We found her when she was a year old and she was injured, but we saved her and we tried to set her back free, but she just kept coming back.
Yeah, she was a wild horse.
Yeah, so now she's fine. Michael is shown the horse he's going to ride. Her name is Slingshot and she's old. Michael says she has 1 foot in the glue factory.
Okay. I know the joke is always that horses get turned to glue. Mm-hmm. Is that actually true?
Yeah.
What part of the horse turns to glue?
I don't know.
Are you sure it's true?
Are you Googling it?
Yes. Horse hooves and other animal bones.
So then Michael's like, I'm not riding her. I want to ride that one, which is like a big, beautiful black stallion. And Tommy's like, okay, we call him Black. Michael is just way overconfident in his horse riding abilities and he doesn't really listen to Tommy. And then
he's very excited to go ride a horse. Yeah,
Black just takes off and tries to buck Michael. And then Michael falls over the fence
flips over the fence in a very comedic fashion, just like, wow, that was unfortunate, into the bullpen.
And the bull's pissed.
Yep.
Tommy's Michael, like, move slowly. Oh wait, actually don't move slowly, move quickly to get out.
Michael is like genuinely inches from death.
Yeah, but he manages to escape. He climbs.
So luckily it's just a funny moment.
Tommy's like, should have rode Slingshot. And Michael says, what else do you call him when you're not calling him Black? Like, do you call him something else? And Tommy's like, Black Lightning. And it's supposed to be like why didn't you tell me that moment? When it's like, dude, you should have ridden the horse that he told you to ride.
Yeah, this one was, he could have just gotten away with it.
He just wanted to look cool on
also, Black Lightning
horse.
doesn't, just being called Black Lightning doesn't really mean shit. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
What if it was an ironic name?
Yeah. Come on.
I don't know. If I didn't know shit about horses, I would trust the horse people to tell me which horse to ride, you know?
Yeah. But he wanted to look cool.
Yeah. Anyway. So now we see all of them herding the cows on the horses, and including the dog. The dog's doing a great job. Michael is doing a bad job, and Tommy laughs at him. And then they start like lassoing the cows and branding them. Yeah, so just a little ranch life we got to see. I don't know. And then they're like out in the fields. They're like camping out tonight, I guess, because they're wolf tracking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, they're staying out so they can see if they can protect the animals.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because they don't want any wolves to come kill a cow.
Yeah, so they have to stay out in the night.
Yeah, they want to see if there's a wolf. Yeah.
Okay. So in that night, they're like eating supper out in the fields. Michael, you know, he likes slingshot because she's calmer, but his butt is really sore. Tommy's like, you sore yet? And Michael's like, yeah. And then Twister's like, hey, Michael, you're going to take first watch for the wolves so I can make sure you don't just fall asleep when you're out there. So that night, Michael's on the phone with Gina complaining about everything. Gina's like, oh, you poor thing. Well, we should go out on vacation. That's all she ever talks about. And Michael's like, oh, I can't wait to get out of here. What's it supposed to... Gina says, what's it supposed to teach you anyway? And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, whoa, that's a shooting star. That was so cool. You don't see that in LA. You know, the sky is really pretty.
That is something I do notice anytime I go someplace more rural. I'm like, dang, stars are cool.
Yeah, I used to see a lot more stars in my hometown.
Yeah.
We're too close to the cities.
We're too close to the cities.
No, but
city folk just ain't get it.
They just don't get it. Farmer wants a wife.
Farmer needs a wife.
So Michael gets kind of lost looking at the stars. Gina's like, I want to talk about the trip, but Michael's not responding because he's so mesmerized by the sky, and Gina gets pissed.
So she hangs up.
She hangs up, but then she immediately calls back, and the horse and the cattle, they get spooked, which Twister warned him about. Yeah, so Michael answers and she's like, I'm so sorry. I missed you so much. Do you still love me? Like, I missed you in like the 2 seconds we weren't talking.
They're dramatic.
Oh my gosh, they are.
They're soulmates.
They are.
They fight all the time, but they're soulmates.
They have to hang out every single day and call each other all the time. Otherwise, are you even in love? So then Michael gets chased by a stampede. And he calls 911 and says there's a stampede coming. Like, what is 911 going to do?
This is so just trying to be comedic, and this falls flat. This is some of the worst writing in the film, because it's just like, we even hear a wolf howling in this.
Oh.
And like, it's dumb.
It's dumb.
And then the stampede calls the 911, and they're like, what's your emergency? Stampede. Where's the stampede? Right behind me.
And then he ends up in a tree like Lion King.
Yeah, his phone gets crushed.
Yeah.
And every other member of the cast suddenly comes and talks to him.
Yeah, once the stampede is gone, they're all there. And Tommy finds Michael's broken phone. Michael's like, it rang. And then Mule throws it on the ground. Or maybe that was Twister. I don't know. So, yeah. All right, new day. Michael has to help fix the fence because the stampede ran right through it, which was really Michael's fault. He complains about, the phone spooked them. It's so stupid. And then the wolves are stupid. I don't know.
He never takes responsibility.
Yeah. Then Tommy tells Michael, like, okay, you're going to load these big wooden poles into the truck. And, you can move the truck if you want closer. But Michael cuts him off while he's explaining this and says, like, I got it. I know how to do this. There's a truck right next to the poles. Yeah. And so Tommy's like, fine, you got it. This one is more Michael's fault because Tommy was explaining.
At the same time, it was entirely, again, left to the devices. He's just giving himself plausible deniability because he's just saying, the keys are in the car. You can move it closer. Obviously, he's going to think it's in the truck right next to him.
The whole thing is like weaponized incompetence, except in directions.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Directionalized, weaponized incompetence.
Yeah, where you're deliberately leading someone to do the wrong thing with
and it makes it not even incompetence in theory, you know?
Yeah. So then Michael starts loading up the fence posts into the truck. And once they're all loaded, there's a whole bunch of them. Mule comes over and he's like, what are you doing?
What's going on?
Michael's like, Tommy said to put these in the truck. And he's like, is that so wrong or whatever? And Mule's like, yeah, sure. But that truck doesn't run. The working truck is around the other side of the shed. Michael like goes around and he sees the good truck, and it's just so clear that like, oh, this truck looks a lot nicer than the truck he was loading up.
I will say he did not actually do that much wasted work because most of the work is getting it off the ground, and they're not on the ground anymore.
Probably just kind of back the truck up and slide them like, in.
This
is
still
annoying though.
The movie acts like this is a huge bad deal, and it's really not.
It's really just like the final straw.
Yeah,
I think so. Michael,
the straw that broke the horse's back.
Yeah, good one.
Thank you.
Michael drives over to yell at Tommy about the poles. He says, I'm sick of you doing this. And Tommy's like, I told you can move the truck. Why would you think I was saying that? If, like, whatever, you should have gone for the working truck, not the non-working truck. And Michael's like, I'm done with this. You can call my dad. I don't care. Just stay out of my way. And Tommy's like, I can't believe I used to wish that you were my brother. There's nothing about you I like or respect. You changed so much. I love that line. I love Tommy's like, there's nothing about you I like or respect.
It really kind of stems up, but it's like a good boiling over point. Good. A lot of stuff is going on.
I just love Tommy as a character. Like, he's so mature for his age.
And it's not like he doesn't have his own flaws.
Yeah, and he's still like, he's an 11-year-old boy, and he's getting revenge on his older cousin, but in a really smart way. Like,
it's good.
It's good. And he was done so dirty by Michael in LA. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he says, you've changed so much. Michael's like, you mean how we were friends at the reunion? Think about it. We were the only ones there under 30. I had no choice but to hang out with you. I had to hang with the 7-year-old.
How old is this family?
That's how bored I was. I don't know. They're maybe the only like cousins that they have, you know?
No.
He's like, I had to hang out with a 7-year-old. That's how bored I was. Don't leave me alone. And Tommy says, hi, Will. Just go ahead and serve your sentence for lying about your car and acting like I didn't exist. I'll stay out of your way, but you stay out of mine. And he rides off on his horse. It's a good fight.
It's a good fight.
It is.
No notes, honestly.
I also like that this dynamic is cousins instead of brothers, and it makes
brothers
sense.
Would feel too close.
Yeah, it has to be cousins for it to make sense, really,
because it can't be that knowledgeable of each other.
But like, it's a dynamic you don't see a lot in DCOMs because most of the time it is just like siblings. But this is nice of like kind of the cousin that kind of acts as your brother, you know, because neither of them have siblings. And with Tommy having gone through so much, like he lost his dad, and Michael like not having any siblings, like he can kind of act like an older brother and he learns responsibility and stuff. I don't know, I think this plot is just really well done.
Yeah.
Okay, so then later Michael is sitting on the truck like sleeping or something, and Twister yells at him, and he's like, I was waiting for you to come help build the fence. And Twister's like,
it's a fence.
It's a fence. You replace the broken poles with the new poles. It's not rocket science. And
he can't.
Michael's like,
every pole
that's going to take weeks. And Twister's like, well, then you better get started. Oh man, you're everything Tommy said you were. And Michael's like, I'm just a city boy, I don't fit in. And Twister's like, no, you're not a city boy. You just don't give a darn.
It's definitely supposed to be damn, but you can't say that in a DCOM.
You don't give a darn.
It's really awkward, honestly. It feels weird.
It's so funny. He says they're about to lose their ranch and you couldn't care less.
Man, isn't this gonna be wild when we figure this out together and
band together to save the ranch? Michael's like, what? Oh, you don't know. Figures.
It's like, what? Now you're gonna make fun of him for not knowing?
Figures you wouldn't know.
Idiot.
Well, Michael says, why wouldn't they tell me? And Twister's like, because you probably wouldn't care. You've never had a want for anything. These are good people.
So this is really like, this plus the fight is the big turning point for...
Yeah. Now they have to band together to save the ranch.
Yeah. But kind of, this is where it just kind of kicks in together of, oh no, he doesn't want them to lose the ranch. Oh, a lot of things make sense for that. And what I appreciate is it's not a snap on the dime. It's he's trying to be helpful now, but he does not know the right way.
He doesn't know how yet. It is a more gradual turn. Like, yeah, this is a turning point where he's really going to start trying more now. So Jules, we see, is talking with like some bank people, or at least people over here to price stuff for the auction. And they look at the antique thing that was mentioned earlier, and she is like, yep, that needs to go too. And Tommy's really sad about it because it's like an old antique that ran in the family and they're going to sell it. And then the people leave and Michael comes in and Jules tries to brush off like who they were, like, oh, they're just visiting, whatever. And then Michael... I said Michael glares at Michael. Goes upstairs.
That must be what happened.
That must be it. I'm never wrong. I'm sure I meant Tommy glares at Michael and then goes upstairs. No, Michael stared in a mirror and went upstairs. Okay, so that night Michael gets up from bed. He sees a picture of Tommy's dad. And then he goes down and he takes Black Lightning out and he's like, hey, Black Lightning.
Black Lightning like, I'm a horse.
I'm a horse. He's like,
I have the confidence of horses.
He's like, I'm going to respect you more. And then Tommy gets up and he sees that Michael is gone and he looks out the window and he sees him riding Black around and they're getting like used to each other. And wow. Tommy goes back to bed.
Yeah, cool.
Cut to Michael the next morning working on the fence.
He's doing it.
Benji said out loud, he's hot. And I wrote it down because I agreed. He's in like a white tank, like jeans.
It's just very much workout out. Like I'm doing physical labor.
It is very attractive. And oh my gosh, he did it. So time has passed.
Yeah.
We're getting closer to the end of the month.
Yeah, the first few bits was the first week and now we're like in the last week.
Yeah, because he says like that's going to take weeks on the fence. So that's kind of your hint of like some time has passed and they mentioned like Michael's going to be leaving pretty soon. But yeah. So then he sees Tommy riding his horse. And this is Michael, and he goes over and sits with him, or like goes over and talks to him at least. And they're looking out at some wild horses. And Tommy says they let the like tricolor horse join. I knew they would. It's like the thing he mentioned earlier in the movie. Yeah. And then Michael says, hey, I said some pretty cruel things to you before. I just want you to know I didn't mean them. I had a really good time with you at the reunion, actually. And Tommy is like, they talk and it's like, can I sit down? And he's like, yeah. Tommy says that him and his dad made the bench that they're sitting on. And Michael says, I bet you miss him. And Tommy says, yeah, I miss his laugh. If I sit here long enough, I can feel him. We used to sit here every day after chores and name the horses. And
it's like all of them have
names? All of the horses. And he's like, yep, that one's named Spots and that one's Cinnamon or whatever. Like he names all of these horse names. There's like 20 horses. So that's a lot of names. Michael says, no wonder you don't like the racetrack. They're so free here. And Tommy says, Dad used to say that the wild horses bring us good luck. I guess he was wrong. And then Michael's like, how come you guys didn't tell me that you were losing the ranch? And Tommy says, why would you care? And Michael says, I care.
I'm not just an asshole. The rest of this movie may have led you to believe.
Yeah. Tommy says, we owe too much money. And it got worse when my dad was sick. There's like medical bills. And we kept borrowing and we just can't pay it back. And Michael's like, why don't you just sell a portion of the ranch? And Tommy's like, no one's going to buy it. Everyone's facing the same problems here. So they're selling the ranch next week and they're going to go live in his uncle's trailers. And Tommy says, what is it to you? You're leaving the day after tomorrow to go on your vacation with Gina. And then he storms off. So we're starting to build our foundation back to each other, but it's still not quite there.
Mm-hmm.
So then cut to Michael riding Black really fast. It's like a 2-second scene where he's just like riding the horse.
He's going so fast.
He's going so fast.
Black lightning. Meow, meow, meow.
And then he calls his dad and his dad's like, hey, how's it going? He's like, oh, I'm okay. But Jules and Tommy are. They owe a lot of money and they're going to lose the ranch. And the dad's like, yeah, I already know about this. And Michael's like, well, why haven't you done anything? And his dad says, well, they don't want my help. They're really proud people. And Michael says, they're so stupid. They'd rather lose the ranch than take the money. And the dad's like, well, I offered them a loan, but she's worried she's not going to be able to pay it back probably. Like they wouldn't even take the loan. You know, not everything is a quick fix. Mm-hmm. And Michael says, I'm not giving up. They need this place.
Yeah, this is where he's sticking his flag. This is like, I'm going to do this.
I'm going to save the ranch somehow.
For his own selfish needs.
It's definitely not him teaming up with Tommy because Tommy's like,
Tommy doesn't know about this.
Yeah, no, Tommy's accepted, like, yeah, they're going to lose the ranch and it's sad, but that's what's happening. So cut to Michael just explaining what a pyramid scheme is to Twister.
This is such like a modern conversation so too, because you hear all about MLMs these days, or at least 5 years ago, they were really popular.
Yeah.
And he's just like trying to get them all into a pyramid scheme.
He literally says like, see, you guys will be at the top of the pyramid and so you'll make the money. Twister's like, what about the people below you? And Michael's like, well, if they reach the top, then they'll also make money. And if they don't, well, then they lose. Twister's like, well, that sounds like gambling. It also doesn't sound very legal. Michael's like, you just need 2 people. And then they need 2 people. It's a piece of cake. It's a pyramid scheme.
It's just a pyramid scheme.
Twister's like, no. It's nice you want to help, but like, this is not the way to do it. You know, if I had the money, I would just give it to them. And so would a lot of people around here. But even then, there's no way she would take it. Michael's like, what's with the pride? And Twister says, this place is beautiful, but it hits a point where it's just not worth it anymore. They're too deep in a hole. The kind of thing happens with a lot of ranches and farms. Like, he's like, I've worked on a lot of farms and whatnot. And
I'm the curse.
It's me. I'm sabotaging.
I've been draining money out.
Actually, I'm a ghost.
I want this movie. Wait, that sounds great.
Like, at the end of the movie, you see Twister smiling, he just fades away. And you're like, wait a minute, was this a plot the whole time?
You're just like, hold up. Was I supposed to be watching something?
Twister was never here. And they're like, who's Twister? And Michael's like, what?
It's just like, you can find 2 people to be below you in the scheme.
Whoosh. I'm a Twister.
So that's Horse Sense.
If Horse Sense was a Halloween movie somehow. All right, anyway. You keep on me.
A little.
It's almost 10 o'clock. I'm tired.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Horse Sense. The loopier we get, the funnier we get.
It's true.
We might go crazy with this finale, because let me tell you, it's kind of stupid.
All right, cut to Jules, like, getting ready to leave for a barbecue. And Michael's like, oh, I'm not going to go to the barbecue. Like, I'll just stay behind. I'm going to do some work. And then they see Tommy working on the treehouse. And Jules says he's trying so hard to finish it before they leave. And then Jules calls Tommy over so that they can leave for the barbecue. And they say goodbye to Michael and take off. And then Michael looks over and he starts working on the treehouse. Mm-hmm. And so he's like working on it. He gets a lot of it done in an afternoon. Like, he puts all the walls up, really. And I don't think it's quite finished yet, but it like looks pretty close to finish now. Jules and Tommy get back, and you think it's going to be this moment of like, oh my gosh, you finished the treehouse. That's so cool of you. Like, he's trying to do this nice gesture thing, but instead Tommy runs out and he says, no, you can't. You can't. This is my dad's and mine. We were supposed to finish it together. And Michael's like, I'm just trying to help. And Tommy
jumps up onto the treehouse, starts knocking pieces down.
He starts tearing it apart, and he just has a full breakdown, and they're just watching it happen. And it's so heartbreaking.
It's genuinely, this is what sticks with me the most of the whole film.
And he's just is yelling like, it's my dad's and mine. It's my dad's and mine. Like, how could you do this to me?
So many other films, so many other DCOMs that we've seen, we've talked about, would just have him make it, and there would be this grand gesture that like goes through. This movie, that wouldn't make sense at all.
I think it handles grief a lot more accurately than any other movie would. And like, another person might see this and be like, oh yay, my treehouse is finished. But like, this was a project he was specifically working on with his dad.
Yeah. This is one where, again, like, it's been led, we got the pieces, everything, and we know these characters well enough that we know that a reaction other than this wouldn't make sense. It made sense why one of them would think to build the treehouse, and another one would not initiate that gesture. Michael
is really just trying to help, and he's tried with like the pyramid scheme, he's trying with the treehouse, and he's doing the wrong things.
Yeah, which is another thing I appreciate.
But his heart is starting to be in the right place. Yeah, his change doesn't happen.
He's trying to be selfless, but he doesn't know how.
He doesn't know how. He doesn't realize that this is the wrong thing. And really, like, how could he really know that Tommy was going to react this way? It's just, this is something especially had with his dad that he wanted to finish himself now that his dad isn't here. So it's a good part of the movie. And then like the scene ends and we don't revisit this for a while. They do mention it again, so don't worry, we will get some conclusion on this treehouse, but like they do leave it kind of up in the air of like, yeah, Michael just did this wrong thing, you know? So Michael's on the phone with Gina talking about how he's like so sad for them that they're losing the ranch and stuff. And he's like, I'm leaving for Europe soon and they have to leave their home. And Gina's like, oh yeah, and a trailer. That's so gross. And Michael's like, that's not the point. The point is that they're family and there's nothing I can do. Gina's like, can we talk about something that's less depressing? I'm going on vacation, blah, blah, blah. She's like,
I'm doing fancy stuff.
Yeah. Also, my dad bought a racehorse. And Michael's like,
but abuse.
Why?
I like horses now. I have the horse sense.
Michael's like, why do you buy a racehorse? And Gina's like, I don't know. He likes them. Anyway, I'm meeting up with my friend and Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah. My friend's starting to date Leonardo DiCaprio. Don't worry. She's under 25.
Yeah. And this is in 99. He's younger then. But he only dates 25-year-olds and younger. Michael's like, well, I'm gonna go to bed. You know, it's not that bad here. I'm learning things. I'm working with my hands, and I'm riding this horse named Black Lightning. And Gina just
pretends to be busy. It's like, oh, I gotta go. You're boring.
You're being boring. So this is really like Michael's kind of come full circle. Like he's really appreciating his time on the ranch now. So now it's a new day.
Feeling like his hard work is amounting to something.
Yes. So it's a new day. Michael is working with some bay hills and he sees all the wild horses and he starts naming the names that Tommy said to him. So he's really starting to get the horse sense, you know?
You figured it out.
I figured it out. That's the movie.
That's it. God damn it. Okay.
I got you with that one.
You threw me for a loop there.
Tommy comes up on his horse and he's like, where's Twister? I don't know. He's over there. Oh, Tommy Boy's gonna die. Okay, he mentioned earlier there's a horse that his dad named Tommy Boy after him. And there's also a horse named Jules named after his mom. Like, yeah. But specifically, this is Tommy Boy, the horse. He's like, come on, he's gonna die. Come on. And then Michael hops off the bay hill.
It's a blink and you miss it thing, and it's hilarious. He just jumps off a fence right onto the back of a horse, and they run.
Yeah, it's so smooth. Because he's like above the horse, he just hops right on behind Tommy.
Crazy.
It's so smooth.
He really has the horse sense.
Yeah. He really has the horse sense. So they go and they see little Tommy Boy stuck in the mud. And they work together to save the horse. This is them working together.
Yeah.
It's not to save the ranch.
It's to save a
horse. Tommy goes out into the mud and he has a rope tied around him.
Yeah. This is all a Goop scene, but it's also just not.
It's really not. It's very serious, actually. It's not for laughs, so I don't think it actually qualifies as Goop, because I think Goop has to be for laughs. So he like goes around, he puts the rope around the horse. Tommy gets knocked over, but he's okay. And then he starts to calm the horse in slow motion. And this goes on for way too long. He's like slow motion calming a horse, going like, "It's all right, boy. You're gonna be all right, boy. It's okay. It's okay. Calm down.
Simmer down.
Simmer down. It's all right, boy.
It's all right, boy."
Like, it's happening in slow motion, but his voice is happening in real time.
It's too much.
It goes on for like 2 minutes, I swear, of Michael watching them being like, "I understand horse sense now." And it's slow motion and they save the horse. I think they needed to fill runtime, if I'm being honest.
1% of the runtime is this
It's the scene. And then they got him out. They pulled him out. Hooray. Oh yeah, so they pull him out and he's like, the horse is freaking out, whatever. And Michael grabs onto the rope and Tommy says, "Talk to him, Michael. Understand him."
I feel like this scene was from a different movie and they just kept it in.
Understand him. And then Michael calms the horse.
I feel like he
free.
must have had Ring of Endless Light in his mind. It's like, oh, they can talk to each other.
That's
Why
ready
did you
to
give
run.
up your hands?
Why did the horses give up their hands? They used to have hands, but they wanted to run faster. Yeah, so then Tommy says thank you and Michael says no sweat. So they make it back home and Jules is like, "Where were you? Do you know what time it is? You have 5 minutes, you have to go shower, you'll miss your flight." Cut to Michael, like he went in and then he rushes out, like obviously he showered and grabbed his stuff. And he's like, "I can't believe it. Time has gone by so fast." And Tommy says, "Yeah, you got really good at riding black." And he's like, "Hey, I'm so sorry about not taking you to Disneyland. I can't believe I was such a jerk."
You were a jerk.
And Tommy's like, "It's okay." And Michael says, "No, it's not okay. Next time, I promise we're there. You know, that is if you let me take you." And Tommy says, "I like that."
They have to have their whole conclusion in like a couple minutes.
I kind of like that it's rushed like this of like, hey, no, actually, we do get each other now. Like, we wouldn't save that horse together.
And now we have the horse sense.
And now we have the horse sense.
I think I know what the title of this podcast is going to be called.
Guys, this is such a good joke. We should name the episode this. Bingo agrees.
Bingo, do you have the horse sense?
No comment. She's never seen a horse. All right, Thomas says something like that. And then he says, "Have fun in Europe." And then Jules drives off with Michael. But then as they're driving away, Tommy gets on his horse and follows behind. And they pull over and Tommy gives Michael the whistle he made. And Michael's like, "Is this from the reunion?" And Tommy says, "No, I made you a new one." He says, "Thanks, man. I'll see ya. Bye." And then they drive off with Tommy waving goodbye from his horse. And then I said, slow motion Andrew Lawrence all muddy on a horse.
It's really weird. It lasts for like 10 seconds of him just riding a horse next to the car while being all muddy.
Slow motion Andrew Lawrence all muddy on a horse.
Though, this could have been the end of the film and it would have been fine.
It would have been missing something. Yeah. Like, it definitely does need the ending conclusion that it has. But yeah. All right, transition to slow motion horse racing. So that slow motion Andrew Lawrence muddy on a horse transitions to slow motion horse racing. It's actually a pretty good transition, not gonna lie. Michael watches it with slow motion flashbacks of the wild horses.
He's just like scarred from the fact that he saw horses in the wild. Now he's seeing horses at horse racing.
Yeah, he's like, "I remember my good life I had on the ranch with the wild horses." Their horse won the race, which is cool.
Yeah, Michael, so they get to go to the winner's circle.
Michael doesn't celebrate with them. He's just still kind of in another place right now. Culture shock. Gina and her dad pose with the horse, And then the horse starts to freak out and like bucks the rider off and stuff. And then Michael grabs the reins and he calms the horse. And they're like, Michael, let the professional handle it. But he's like, no. It's okay.
I have the horse sense. We're good.
I understand horses. I have
the confidence of horses.
I have the sense of horses. Sense and sensibility.
I think we mentioned in Ready to Run how Horse Sense would be a much better name for that film.
We finally get to full circle back to our Ready to Run episode. Yeah. Horse Sense should be the name of Ready to Run, and Ready to Run should not be the name of this movie.
It would work just as well. I'm not lying.
Who's Ready to Run? Michael?
Yeah. Ready to Run the Ranch.
What should this movie have been called?
A Month at the Ranch.
A Month at the Ranch. You know, I think this movie could have been called Horse Sense if at one point someone said Tommy was like, oh my gosh, Michael, you get it now. You have the horse sense. And then the credits roll and then it's better. But that doesn't happen. We're not here to be professional writers and marketing departments, but there's definitely better titles for this movie that you can do. Something maybe not about horses, because again, horses are very little about the movie. Learning how to be a better person.
I would love to watch that. Who's everyone's favorite DCOM? Mine's Learning to Be a Better Person.
How to be a better person. There's how to build a better boy, how to build a better older cousin.
How to build a better older cousin. I think they could do like farmer versus city boy.
City boy reforms. I don't know. Anyway, what we're talking about, Michael calms the horse, and that's cool. He did it. Got to the mansion. Gina and her father are there to see Michael, but Michael first talks with Arlene, and she's like, are you okay? And Michael's like, yeah, I'm just thinking.
I'm just thinking I'm gonna go kill my whole future.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say he was gonna kill a horse. I don't know. It's 10 p.m., guys.
We're all a little loopy.
We're all a little tired here. Hey, thanks, Arlene. Thanks for everything. And Arlene's like, damn, okay. Damn, he really changed. That's a direct quote.
10 p.m. ain't even that late. We've done way later for a date.
I know.
Why are we like
I'm
this?
just on something right now. Damn, okay. Damn, he's changed.
So anyway, Michael's going outside to go in the car for
his... slow motion.
Yeah.
You gotta mention it. There's a lot of slow motion.
It's a tie back to...
Let me tell you,
Lawrence in slow motion.
These last like 10 minutes of the movies have a lot of slow motion. Okay, he's leaving in slow motion to get in the car for his Europe vacation, and he doesn't look happy. And then the limo driver turns around in slow motion to grab his bags, but Michael doesn't give them to him.
Michael's like, I'm not going.
Gina's like, hey, there you are. Let's go to Europe. And the limo driver's like, do you want me to take your bags? Like he's so thrown off that Michael didn't give him his bags. And Michael's like, no, I'm not going to Europe. And Gina's like, what? And Michael's like, I realize there's something a lot more important. So then we see Michael styling his fancy car, and he gets into a taxi, and then he's at the bank and he's taking out his trust fund. And the guy who's doing the trust fund stuff is the same actor who's in Brink. He's not the dad in Brink. He's like the teacher or something.
You're the one who recognized him. I didn't look.
He's in Read It and Weep. He's definitely the dad in Read It to Weep.
Read It to Weep. I like Read It to Weep. Like it's just instructions. Like if you ever need to weep, you just read it.
Okay. And whatever. He's in a bunch of DCOMs, and I yelled at you in Brink for not mentioning him or something. I don't know. It was in an episode, and I was like, "How dare you not mention him?"
Go listen to the rest of our podcast.
You'll figure it out. I think he's in under wraps.
This is the best DCOM we've ever done.
I don't know. I think we need to record every episode at 10 p.m. Not gonna lie. Okay, so the financial advisor guy who's in like every DCOM ever, he says, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And Michael's like, "Yep," and he signs a piece of paper.
So Michael's whole plan is he's getting a bunch of his own money.
He'd take out like all of his trust funds
so that he can buy the ranch. Which
no, he's not buying the ranch.
I know. I'm going to explain. Okay. He's not fully buying the ranch. His plan, spoiler alert, is he's going to try and be an investor in the ranch.
Yeah.
This is dumb because it really kind of bugs me because he told all these times they're not taking charity, they're not taking handouts.
Well, he thinks like if I go out here, I thought he was going to be like, I want to be a part ownership and also work on the ranch. And that was going to be the solution. It is like the obvious solution of the movie. So he goes over to like Jules and Tommy, which first we see them like packing up and stuff, and Tommy hugs, and she says it's gonna be okay, Tommy, and he says, "I know, Mom, it's okay." But then Michael walks in the house, and he says it's time to unpack, and he hands her the check, and she says, "This is your money, isn't it?" And he says, "No, it's yours." And she says, "I can't take it." And Michael says, "I'm not giving it to you. It's an investment." And Jules says, "It's a bad investment, believe me. It's why I wouldn't borrow money from your dad. I tried so hard to make it work, but it's time to move on." And Michael says, "Please." So, yeah.
She's just like, no.
And so you think the solution is going to be like, Michael's going to invest in the ranch, live on the ranch, work on the ranch. But Jules just straight up is like, no, this is a bad investment. Like, it's not going to fix
saying
anything.
That the money's bad here.
Yeah, money is not good here. It's happening to like every ranch around here. Jules says, "Your giving comes from the right place. Don't lose that." And she hands him back the check and they hug. "So that's it then, huh? It's over?" And Jules says, "We're going to be fine."
And that's the movie.
No, it's not. Cut to the auction. They're like setting up for the auction. Twister is mad and sad is what I wrote.
Pretty much.
He's mad and sad. And he's a ghost.
We also watched this movie at 10 p.m.
Yeah, we watched it at 10 p.m. We're recording at 10 p.m. on a different day. But yeah.
We're actively watching the movie right now.
Right now, actually.
He's a ghost, let me tell you.
He fades away.
I really like Twister the Ghost. That would have been much better.
And Mule is just a guy that's there.
Mule, again, he's like so barely in the movie.
Yeah. All right, so then Michael helps Tommy with a big chest of his old school stuff, and they look inside, and he's like, "Oh, look, you got an A. Last class I took, I got a D."
Callback, because we're going to reference this actually quite a bit.
It is kind of nice, I guess, that it wasn't for nothing. Yeah. It wasn't just to show him that he's stupid. Mm-hmm. Tommy says, "What class?" And he's like, "Oh, it's about real estate development, land trust, properties, mergers." Boring. Yeah, it was really boring. But then Michael's like, "Wait." And he runs inside. And then he calls his dad. And he's like, "Dad, I need you to go grab a paper."
They're using the landline phone because this is 99.
And he's like, "I got a D." And Dad's like, "You got a D?" And he's like, "Yeah, whatever though. Turn to like page 5 or 6.
Meanwhile, while this is all happening, the desk that he's like holding the phone is like being taken, and the chair that he's sitting on is getting taken. Because
they're taking everything out for the auction. And he's like, "Turn to page 5 or 6. And the dad's like, "It's only 4 pages long." And he goes, "Really?"
It's a good get. That one's a good bit.
That was a good bit because he's changed so much. It's like, really? I only had 4 pages of my paper? No wonder I got a D. But he's like, "Well, whatever. Turn to the part about land trust and read it to me." And the mom's like, "Who are you talking to?" And the dad's like, "I'm not sure, but I think it's our son."
Oh, dad humor.
Cut to Michael trying to take the truck out, but since there's so many people coming up for the auction, he can't get it out, so he sees black lightning and he takes off riding.
Ride black lightning?
Yeah, because he learned how to ride him and he's so fast. He rides into town and he puts the horse on the meter and pays the meter, which was funny.
Do you pay the meter when you park your horse?
I mean, you are taking up the spot.
Yeah, but what are you risking? Your horse getting towed?
They put some ropes on its toes and they towed the horse.
Good one.
Woo, we're going crazy tonight. Man. This
Someone
episode's
put
gonna
us
be
on the not sugar-free pop.
this episode's like 2 hours long. I'm kind of impressed. It's because we talked so long about ghosts and stuff. Anyway, he talks to the bank guy and he tells him how his aunt and cousin worked so hard. And he's like, hey, you have every right to close them down, but don't you want to make a profit and like not lose money?
No one's buying these ranches, so like you're losing money either way.
He says your bank has foreclosed on 18 ranch properties and they're all still for sale. You lose money every day if those don't sell, right? Well, my aunt's property meets criteria for a land trust. Yeah. You both have a better bottom line. You just got to give it a chance. How about making a positive change in someone's life? So I think what he's getting at is like a land trust isn't necessarily a great investment, but it's better than not selling a ranch.
Yeah.
So, and it would help these people a lot. So back at the auction, they're selling stuff. They're about to sell the really special antique that has the sentimental value that's been mentioned multiple times in this movie. And Jules is like, I can't take it. I have to leave.
Then they see, wait, is that Michael on Black Lightning? And he's rotting in.
And he jumps on stage and he takes the mic.
He's like, sorry, auctioneer. I need to talk. He says specifically, I'll let you have this and finish later. Like, I'll give it back. This will take 1 minute.
1 minute.
Takes the stage. Hey, everyone. The auction's closed.
The auction's closed. We'll give you back your money. Like, it's not even like if you bought something you can keep it. It's like, no, you'll just get your money back. Sorry. And then he hands the mic back to the auctioneer.
Like, what's he gonna do?
The auctioneer's like, huh?
Does the auctioneer still get paid?
Yeah.
He should.
He should. And Jules is like, what are you doing? And Michael's like, this is a 30-day extension from the bank. Your dad was right, Tommy. Those wild horses are lucky. You see, since there are wild horses on this land, you can get a land trust. The land trust ensures them a home forever. It protects wild animals and their habitats. So if your land gets accepted, which it should because it meets the criteria, it'll cover the debt. And, you know, you won't own the land anymore, but you can still live here and manage it. And then they think, Michael, it's a very smart conclusion.
It is more logical.
It makes a lot of
the beginning, but also it's kind of like it's almost out of nowhere.
It makes a lot of horse sense if you think about it.
I don't get it.
It's a thinker. I think you can get
I get it now. Oh, no, it takes a little time.
You gotta mull it over a little bit. So they thank Michael and he's like, of course, but I have one request. Can I stay a little longer and see this trust through? And they say you can stay as long as you like. Aww. And Tommy says, thank you. And he hugs Michael, and Twister and Mule are happy too. And Twister fades away. And Mule's like, what?
Yeah, he goes and joins Anakin, who's also there.
And Yoda's there. And Obi-Wan. Ben Kenobi. Okay. So then the auction people leave. And Tommy's like, hey, Michael, you want to work on a treehouse? Are you sure? Really sure. And they go to the treehouse and they start working on it. Aww. Pan out, fade out, the end.
We don't get a fun little... It's called a horse sense.
Horse sense.
You just watched the movie. We don't.
He was in LA, then he went to Montana. He rode a horse,
jerk, but now he is a better
horse sense.
Wow, wow,
horse
wow.
sense.
Wow, wow.
Horse sense.
Horse sense.
I wish it ended like that. That was
horse sense.
Yeah, so they did go back to the treehouse thing, guys. Don't worry. Yeah. We got conclusion.
How do you like horse sense?
I like it. I think
it's definitely going up from where we had it before.
Me too. Like, okay, so final Jank House ranking was 67, which is like kind of in the middle, a little low. You have it at 69. Nice. I have it lower at 77, and I think I would definitely move it up. It's in my D tier right now.
It's not a D tier.
I would move it up to C tier.
Like it's yeah. I have it in my C tier. feel like I might move it to high C tier.
It is high D tier for me, but I would move it up to C tier. I think what happens is once you're removed from this movie, it's pretty forgettable.
Yeah, there's nothing much that's a draw to it.
But when you're watching
it, it works. It functions very well.
Yeah, it does. I think it is well done for what it is. Like, it's nothing spectacular or groundbreaking, but for what they were trying to do, they do it well. And I said right after this movie was done, this movie has a lot of heart.
Yeah.
And I like the emotional beats. I like the characters. I think they're written well and are believable. Like, I don't have a lot to complain about this movie other than it doesn't have like a super special sauce. It's not groundbreaking. It's not like, oh, I remember that one. That one's so good. Less wacky stuff happens that like other DCOMs have. Mm-hmm. It's just like a pretty good TV kids movie, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree.
So right. That's Horse Sense.
That's Horse Sense. Yeah. We'll talk about it more at some point when we do in our next mini-sode because we'll rank it then. But yeah, for now, that's there. That's it. We alluded to earlier. We already know what our next DCOM is going to be.
Yeah, so we decided last year, because it started in the first year, that on Halloween, or the episode closest to Halloween, we're going to watch Halloween Town. The first year we did this, it was literally our second episode. We watched Halloween Town, and it was Halloween.
Yeah. Happy second anniversary to the podcast.
Yeah, happy birthday to our podcast. It's been 2 years. That's actually wild that we've kept this up for 2 years. I'm pretty proud of us for doing that. So, as is tradition for a Halloween episode, we'll cover the next Halloween Town movie, which is Halloween Town High. It's time for high school, baby.
Let's do some Halloween Town, but also high school. What is this, a DCOM?
Yeah, so thank you guys so much for listening to Horse Sense. Or let's talk about Horse Sense. And if you want to tell us your thoughts about this movie or any other DCOM, you can email us at thedcomduo@gmail.com. Check out our TikTok, check out our YouTube, whatever you want to do.
Check us out.
Check us out. We're pretty fun sometimes. All right, so tune in 2 weeks for Halloween Town High.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Scenes from our next episode.
Man, what if Halloween Town had a high school?
Is that Kelsey from High School Musical?
Is that Ryan from High School Musical?
Oh, that's a cool skeleton. Wasn't that this one? Big, funny skeleton.
This is a fun little skeleton guy. Do I remember much about Halloween Town High? No.
Time to break the lore of Halloween Town some more. Yeah, Halloween Town.
Halloween, Halloween, Halloween.
Marnie gets a new boyfriend.
Halloween.
Calabar is missing. That's so sad.
Halloween.